What's up? Welcome to Release Rotation. I'm your host, John W. Snyder. Let's just get into it. It's been a bit. I'm trying to get back into this. As you know, if you listen to my last one, whatever, here we are. This one, I'm going to talk about Oklahoma State basketball. It's not great. It's not great at all. We started out 0-5 in the conference, and that was horrible. And we finally got a win against West Virginia on a big day. It was on the anniversary of the Oklahoma State basketball plane crash that happened 23 years ago. And so that's always an emotional game for myself and for Oklahoma State fans and alum and all of that. And so that was good that Oklahoma State got that win. So I believe we are now 1-5 in the conference. We play Kansas tonight. I mean, Kansas came to Stillwater not long ago and just destroyed us. So this game is in Fog Allen, Lawrence, Kansas, and I have no high hopes of winning the game. Hope they keep it close. I hope that it's closer than what I'm thinking it's going to be, because I'm tired of losing and I'm tired of blowouts. Although most of their games have been close somewhat, but not close enough. And Oklahoma State continues on the struggle bus this season. And it makes me sad. I was at Oklahoma State from 1998 to 2003, roughly. Actually, 04. Spring of 04 through there. I had season tickets. I was always on the floor. And when I was at Oklahoma State, we were a basketball school. Our football team was horrible. Horrible football team when I was at school there. And so it's flipped. Basketball's horrible now. Football's good. Wish they were both good. Makes me sad when I look at certain programs. I can say them, like OU. OU's decent in basketball. They're in the top 25. Good in football, obviously. I mean, you know, and those are the two main sports. Obviously, Oklahoma State's great in wrestling. And I'm talking about men's sports here. I'm not talking about women's sports, but Oklahoma State's good in wrestling, golf, baseball, track and field, cross country. But the two main sports are basketball and football, and mainly football. Football's the one that brings in the revenue, makes all the money for the university. But basketball used to be good in Stillwater. Used to be good. There was a joke, even though I didn't drink in college, but it was that Stillwater was a drinking town with a basketball problem. I don't even know what that meant then. Sounds funny, though. And so Oklahoma State was good when I was there. Went to the Final Four my senior year. We had a Final Four team with Eddie Sutton, and you know, decent a few more years. Went to the Elite Eight in 06, I think, 05. Can't remember the last Elite Eight. It was somewhere. It was a while ago, somewhere around there. And I've been through a few coaches. You know, after Eddie Sutton, we had Sean Sutton. We had Brad Underwood for a year. We had Travis Ford. You might know him from the movie Sixth Man. That was his best accomplishment ever on a basketball court, I believe, was acting in that movie. No, just kidding. He was great at Kentucky as a point guard. Coaching at Oklahoma State, we weren't winning the games we should have been winning when he was there. We did win some big games. We won in Lawrence. We won Bedlam games. We won some big games during the season. Kind of struggled in the postseason. Didn't make it very far when he was there. He left. Brad Underwood came in for a year. That was weird, wild. He left. And while he was there, stuff happened with illegal things that we did according to the NCAA, and we got in trouble for that. And then they didn't even give the suspensions and all that until several years later, where the players who were at Oklahoma State weren't even at Oklahoma State at the time of the infraction. So the NCAA is a joke. just a joke, but that's a whole other story. But my Oklahoma State Cowboys, man, I don't know what the answer is. Mike Boynton has been there. I think this is his 7th season. And like I said, I wasn't a fan of Travis Ford, but Travis Ford had a better winning percentage than Mike Boynton does now. And I thought that when Mike Boynton came to Stillwater, we were getting a winner. And I don't know the guy personally. I don't know him at all personally, but from what I've seen of him and him talking and his interviews, like, I want to be that guy's friend. He seems awesome. And so I don't know what the problem is in Stillwater. I don't know if it's him as a coach. I don't know if it's recruiting. I don't know what the deal is with Oklahoma State basketball and why we have struggled. I know that, you get suspended from the NCAA and you don't get to go to the postseason. And that was when the year Cade Cunningham was there, who was a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. And we didn't even get to go play in the postseason. And we would have made the postseason that year, but didn't get to. And I don't know if that set us back. Maybe we were on the trajectory up and that set us back. And now we're mediocre, if that. And I have way more questions than I do answers. I don't know what the answers are. Obviously, I'm not in that position, but I don't, at this point, think that Mike Boynton is the guy. I also understand finances and the fact that firing somebody costs a whole lot of money. As we saw with Travis Ford, we signed that guy to like a 10-year contract, and he hadn't even proved himself. Just weird stuff. And so now with Mike Boynton, I want him to win. Obviously I want Oklahoma State to win, but I want him to win because I think he is a stand-up coach and guy and husband and dad, and I want him to succeed, and it's just not happening in Stillwater. And so it's rough. It's hard to watch. And then it's like, okay, you get rid of Mike Boynton. Who's going to be the head coach? Who's out there that's going to come to Stillwater at this point? In the early 2000s, I think Oklahoma State was a top job. For sure, a top 20 job. After Eddie Sutton left and everything went down with Sean Sutton, it was still a top 20, top 25 job in the country. And now it's not. I don't think it is. I don't see how it is. Especially when you have schools that aren't even Power Fives going to the Final Four. When you've got Gonzaga consistently good. You had Butler, Florida Atlantic last season, and San Diego State. Like, those schools aren't Power Five, so I don't think it matters anymore in the college basketball landscape if you're a Power Five or not. Obviously, those schools are getting players and coaches that can coach. So I don't know what is happening in Stillwater and why Mike Boynton can't win in Stillwater. It's hard to watch. Again, I don't have the answers. And again, firing him, I don't even know if that's the right answer at this point. Like, do we give him another year? Does it matter? Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to watch. Because like I said, Oklahoma State was so good. I mean, again, that was 20 years ago, but still. Final Four, 20 years ago this year, which is crazy. But I don't know. I just hope maybe things are turning around. Maybe that win against West Virginia on January 27th, maybe that's the game that turns the season around. I still don't think so. I mean, the Big 12 is such a gauntlet anyways when it comes to basketball. When you've got such good schools and half of them are ranked in the top 25. And so, don't know what's going to happen. But financial-wise, people are saying that we can't afford to fire Mike Boynton, which, okay. So maybe we should stop getting ourselves in that predicament. But how do we do that? Can't pay guys less because they're going to get jobs elsewhere. And you don't know then if they're going to be a great coach or not. unless they've proven themselves somewhere else. But again, are you going to get somebody who has proven themselves to come to Stillwater at this point? I still think it's a great job. Like I said, it's just hard to watch, hard to figure out and decide if, if Mike Boynton does get fired or whatever, who fills that spot. Even before Boynton was hired, I wanted Doug Gottlieb. I've said that many and many, many times, for many, many years. I wanted Doug Gottlieb in that position. I think he would be a great coach. And there's something also to be said about a former player coaching at their alma mater. Even our football program. Gundy's been there 18 years, I think, 19, 18, whatever it is. And he's turned that program around where we are consistently going to bowl games. And as an Oklahoma State fan and someone who's watched Oklahoma State football, that's big for Oklahoma State. We played in the Big 12 championship game this year. We beat OU, in Bedlam, the last Bedlam. And so now we officially own the state because of that game. But anyways, I don't know who fills that void. I would like for it to be Doug Gottlieb. And so who knows? But again, with my point being that he knows what's on the line. And all coaches know what's on the line, but when you are a player at the school you coach, or at the school you're going to coach at, or you played at that school, you know what the stakes are. You know what the fans want. It just means more, I think, to have an alum be the head coach. And I would love to see that. Brian Montanati, I can't say his name right. Montanati, I can't say it right. But, he coaches high school basketball in Owasso up by Tulsa, Oklahoma. Played at Oklahoma State. He can coach. And so I don't know. I just would love that our next hire at Oklahoma State basketball, I would love for that hire to be a former player at Oklahoma State, and especially a former player who played under Eddie Sutton. Eddie Sutton, one of the best college coaches of all time, in my opinion, top 10, top 20 for sure. And so, you get a coach in there who played under Eddie Sutton, and that coaching tree is just ridiculous. If you go look at the Henry Iba down through Eddie Sutton, that coaching tree is just roots everywhere, branches everywhere. And so, I would love to see that. I don't know what's going to happen. I keep saying that because I don't. But that's where I am with Oklahoma State basketball. It's sad. I've already, this season's done. It's over. And so, which is a bummer because football season just ended not long ago. And I was, hoping to go into basketball season with some hope, and that's not going to happen. So here we are. In other Oklahoma State news and Big 12 news, the Big 12 schedules for football for 2024 were released today. I'm really excited about the schedule for Oklahoma State. I think they have a good chance. I think they can win 10 games of their 12. I think they can go 10-2. South Dakota State at home, they should win. Although I said they should beat, everyone said they should beat South Alabama last year. And obviously South Alabama came into Stillwater and just crushed Oklahoma State. And I thought the season was over then. But Mike Gundy and that staff turned the season around, and it was a great season. Like I said, Big 12 championship, bowl game, can't complain. But South Dakota State at home, Arkansas at home, that's a fun rivalry. Arkansas is close. Fayetteville's not too far from Stillwater. I think that's a fun rivalry. SEC school. I think Oklahoma State wins that one. Tulsa's on the up and up. The game's at Tulsa, but it's still in Oklahoma. Utah comes to Stillwater. I think that could be a tough game. At Kansas State's always tough. West Virginia and Stillwater. At BYU. That's going to be a tough game. At Baylor's not good. Arizona State is okay. They come to Stillwater. That's homecoming. And then Oklahoma State at TCU. They weren't good this season. I don't know about next season. Texas Tech. And then at Colorado. And that game at Colorado is November 29th. If you look at a calendar, that is Friday after Thanksgiving. That is awesome. I love that Oklahoma State has a Friday game. I used to love when Oklahoma State, Oklahoma played on that Friday. And if you even further back, you had OU Nebraska would play on Thanksgiving, and then it moved to that Friday, I believe. And so the fact that OU and Colorado are playing in Boulder on the day after Thanksgiving, that's pretty fun. And so I'm excited for the season. Like I said, my hopes are 10-2. I think realistically 9-3. Again, it's only January. A lot's going to change between now and that first game in August, the end of August. And so schedule came out, and it's so weird then to also just see the Big 12 teams scheduled next year and the Big 12 teams that are gone, being Texas and OU, but then the teams that come in now again with Utah, Arizona State, and who am I leaving out? Colorado. Duh. It's like they never left. So, going to be a fun season. I'm already ready for football, even though we haven't even had the Super Bowl yet, but I love college football. And again, it is a ways away, but the schedules came out. Looks like it's going to be a fun year. I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait. Again, this is where I would have a commercial break because I'm going to switch gears for a minute. This podcast is definitely powered by coffee today. Well, Starbucks. I actually went to Starbucks. This is going to sound super weird. They have this latte that has olive oil in it. They just released, and I was in there, and there was a lady there giving out samples, and I tried it, and I was like, that's actually really good. So I got one. So I have a latte. It's a oleato oat milk latte with a blonde espresso and olive oil. It's good. I'm not going to lie. It's good. When she told me that it had olive oil in it, I was a little skeptical, but it is good. So if you want to try something different at Starbucks, get your olive oil coffee because it's okay. I don't know. It's good. So this podcast is brought to you by coffee. So let's switch gears. I don't know if you can see back here. Something I've been collecting recently with my kids are V cards. V cards are kind of fun. They're created by Gary Vaynerchuk. If you know me too, I'm a Gary Vaynerchuk fan. I have been for a very long time, even before he wrote his first book, which has been like, I don't even know, 13 years ago. I found Gary V on Twitter in 2008 or 9. Whenever I first joined Twitter, he was one of my first 10 followers. Thanks to a buddy who recommended that I follow him. And so I started following Gary V, and, you know, there's people that like him and people that don't. But that's with anybody, you know. But I like what he writes about. I like what he talks about. He is so positive, and that's what we need more in this world is positivity. But during COVID, Gary V created this thing called V cards, and they're all different characters. And so this one actually, so if you go to Fanatics, there's a Fanatics app you can download, and they're on Fanatics like twice a week. But this one here, see this guy? Common Sense Cow actually won this. They do giveaways. Every episode on Fanatics, V Cards does giveaways. And I got this one, and it's a Gym Mint 10. Okay. And Common Sense Cow. And then I also won this one too. Basically the same week, I think. Noble Numbat. And so, you know, I won these. They were, you know, so they give stuff away for free, which is also awesome. But because I am a Gary V fan and supporter, and like I said, I like his books, I like his podcast and his YouTube channel, I did start buying some of the cards with my kids because there's some fun cards. So one of my favorites is the Entrepreneur Elf. Super awesome and cute. But like I was saying, the names all have something positive or, just like a good characteristic to have. If you're doing something, if you're creating, if you're doing mortgages, if you're a realtor, if you're a chef, there's just different things in here that you can look at and go through. Radical Rabbit, that's fun. What else is in here? Offense-oriented orangutan, always be on the offense. Okay, always be on the offense. What else do we have? So just some others that I might like. Likeable Leopard, Selfless Sloth. It's a good characteristic to have, being selfless, like a sloth, selfless. And this I'm talking about these because these are something I like and I enjoy. I'm not getting paid to talk about these. I'm not, I just want to talk about things that I like. And so Gary Vaynerchuk is a personality that I like. And so, if I can talk up his trading cards, then I'm going to talk them up. And it is like sports cards too in a way. There's foils. You can get one of ones. You can get out of 100. They have some that are out of 500, and then base sets. And so I'm still waiting to get that foil. Haven't gotten that yet. I have all these base cards that are super fun. My kids love them. Actually, my kids, I think they have probably 6 or 7 in their rooms right now that they like to look at and go through. And so I just wanted to bring that up. Go to Fanatics. I'll put a link in my show notes here to get you connected because, like I said, if you have time to hop on there, they do giveaways, and you can also buy cards, and they'll rip them live on there on the app sometimes, or they'll ship you a pack if you buy a pack. And so that's all. But I just like the uplifting message of them. I like that. I think there's 200 and I can't remember. There's so many. There's 250 something characters. Somewhere around. I think it might be 250. It's somewhere around there. Yeah, over 250 now. I think it's between 250 and 260. But tons of cool characters. Some of them are rare. Even the base sets, there's like 10 that are rare that don't come up as much as others. And so, again, I'm just talking about VeeFriends because I like the product. This isn't a commercial for them. I mean, I guess it kind of is, but I'm just talking about them because I like them. I'm not getting paid to talk about them. They're just fun. And especially if you can get your kids involved with something. And I collect sports cards, and so I was like, oh, I'll do this too. So I collect basketball cards, I collect V cards. Let's do it. And so that's all. But thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great one. We'll be back next week, hopefully. See ya.